For a while now, I have referenced the fact that Pokemon Sword and Shield are some of the largest pieces of evidence that a Nintendo Switch Mini or a handheld only Switch or some sort of smaller form factor Switch would release this year, whether it's this summer like Bloomberg and some others are claiming, or whether it's just later in the year before these games land. And the reason I kept saying this is because of a reference made last year by the Pokemon team about how Let's Go was intended to be made for TV use, whereas Sword and Shield was intended to be used in handheld mode. Now, at the time, the quotes themselves weren't exactly definitive on Sword and Shield being intended for use in handheld mode, but now we know that is exactly what those games are intended for. And again, I think provides some of the strongest literal evidence that such a device exists that is specific for handheld use. So, we have a comment from Nintendo President and CEO Shintaro Furukawa from the latest financial brief, and it states the following about Pokemon. It says, "These new titles, first announced in a Pokemon Direct in February, have generated a huge response from consumers. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which were released in November of last year, are designed to highlight the fun of Nintendo Switch in TV mode. For example, by waving the controller at the TV screen to capture Pokemon. Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to emphasize the fun of playing Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. We want these games to be played not only by longtime Pokemon fans, but also by consumers whose first encounter with the series was on a dedicated video game platform with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee." So this confirms basically two things. One, first and foremost, Pokemon Sword and Shield are being made for handheld mode. I've been saying this for a while now, and now we have like definitive evidence from the president and CEO of Nintendo. Yes, folks, these are made for handheld mode. Yes, you'll be able to play it in docked mode, just like you could play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee in handheld mode, and some might argue is even better in handheld mode than in docked mode. But the point being that these games are being designed specifically to take advantage of handheld mode, so I'm not sure there's going to be much advancements or enhancements for the game in docked mode. That being said, we also learn that, well, what we've all suspected, that Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu were stepping stone games to introduce new people into the series, maybe convert them from Pokemon Go, or just, get older fans like myself back into the series, so then we end up purchasing Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, for me, it worked, because I owned Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and I love them to death. I love them enough to give Sword and Shield a shot when I might not have otherwise done so. So that is good news for Nintendo, because it means that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee worked, at least for me. I'm not sure if that's going to have its intended effect on everyone else. Still, all of this to me just adds up to the fact that the Nintendo Switch Mini is real. The Pokemon Company has always been leery about releasing new generation mainline Pokemon games on Nintendo systems early in the system's life cycle. And the reason for this is because they like there to be an already established user base. Now, Switch does have that already established user base at 35 million installs, and by the time Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee get here, it should be well over 40 million at that point, if not at 45 million or so. And that's a nice little install base, but what's really going to boost the install base specifically for Pokemon is a handheld only version of the system that runs at the same price as a new Nintendo 3DS did for a long time, and that is $199.99 here in the United States. And that is primarily why I feel like a Nintendo Switch Mini is likely landing this year. I don't know about a Pro. I don't know about an enhanced model, a next generation Switch. I don't know necessarily how confident I am in seeing that this year, but I am extremely confident that we are going to get a handheld-only Nintendo Switch for $200 at some point this year. Some people think the $200 price point might be a little bit too ambitious. I don't honestly think so. I think when Nintendo has been talking about replacing the 3DS for the last couple of years and how the current Switch isn't a replacement, this is what they meant, that they were going to make a smaller, cheaper version of the Switch that is specifically built for handheld and pocketability, and it is going to replace the 3DS. I don't know if it's going to be clamshell designed. I don't know if it's just going to be, just a solid, smaller unit with non-detachable Joy-Cons. I'm not really sure what direction it's going to take. All I know is it's going to exist. And now I have some people that I trust behind the scenes telling me that this thing exists, and they're literally making games for it right now. So that is intense to me. Now you might say, why would people be making games for it and not the original Switch? Well, of course they're making it for both, but the point is that they're tailoring games specifically for handheld because of the new Switch. And that seems to be what I think is happening with Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Yeah, it's going to take advantage of handheld mode on the OG Switch, but it's also going to be specifically tailored for that smaller Switch experience. And man, oh man, do I think that is an absolutely brilliant move for Nintendo. I have taken a 180 on the Switch Mini business hardcore. If you guys remember, it was probably a year ago when the first rumors of the Switch Mini came up, then I'm like, this is stupid. Why? This is dumb. That's before I realized, wait a second, its place in the market isn't to replace the current Switch. If you own a Switch today, you don't need to buy a Switch Mini. The point of the Switch Mini isn't to target me. It's to target my kids. It's to target the 3DS audience. And man, I'm pretty stoked about that possibility. Obviously, at this point, it's all speculation and or rumors and or reports, whatever you want to believe. But this report is true. Again, I repeat, Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to emphasize the fun of playing Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. This was said by Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa. So read into it what you want. Don't read into it if you don't want. All I know is I can't wait to play Pokemon Sword and Shield later this year. All I know is that this is extremely exciting. If you are a Pokemon fan, if you're a Switch fan, if you're a prospective Switch owner that maybe hasn't bought one yet because you're waiting for that true Pokemon game, and this is next gen game is what you're looking forward to, and now you might have a cheaper way to get into playing it just like you did back on the 3DS days. Obviously the games will probably be $60 a pop, which is more expensive, but hopefully the increased price of the games leads to an increase in quality of the game. That is always the hope. I know some people didn't feel that way necessarily with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Obviously I disagree. I really like those games, if you can't tell from my final impressions. But, yeah, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Are you excited about this being built specifically for handheld mode? Are you excited about what that might mean for future hardware revisions? You guys let me know everything you want to know down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer your questions when I get a chance. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to enter our Nintendo Switch Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Bundle giveaway through the Gleam.io link down in the description, and I will catch all of you guys in the next video.